Beauty and the Beast. There was once a merchant who had 3 daughters, Bella, Beta and Beauty. Sometimes the merchant had to travel many miles to go to market, and he could be gone for days at a time. One day, before riding to market, the merchant told his daughters he would bring back a present for each of them. The girls were very excited.
"Well, what would you like?"
said the merchant.
"I would like a pearl necklace,"
said Bella.
"I would like a new dress,"
said Beta. "I just want you to come home safe and sound," said Beauty.
"Is that all?"
asked her father.
"Surely there must be something that you'd like."
Beauty thought about it for a minute, then said, "I would like a rose if you see one, a pink one if possible." The merchant said goodbye to his daughters and set off for the market. He bought a necklace for Bella and a bright red dress for Beta, but he couldn't find a rose for Beauty. On his way home that night, the merchant got lost. To make matters worse, a terrible storm soon started. The rain lashed and the thunder crashed and the lightning lit up the sky. It wasn't long before the merchant was soaked through, freezing cold and starting to worry. He might never make it home if he didn't find shelter soon. Then he spotted a building perched on top of a hill. It was a grand castle, surrounded by beautiful gardens. All of the lights were on and smoke was rising from the chimney. Somebody must be home. The merchant hurried forwards and knocked on the door. It swung open slowly, but no one was there.
"Hello?"
shouted the merchant.
"Is anyone home?"
But nobody answered. The merchant shut the door behind him and ventured into the building. The main hall was wonderfully warm and inviting. A roaring fire burned in the grate and hundreds of candles lit up the room. But the most impressive thing was the table, which was piled high with piping hot food. There was enough food for a whole banquet. The merchant helped himself to a plate and tucked into a hearty supper. He was starving after his long day. Once he had eaten, the merchant was ready for bed. He thought no one would mind if he slept in one of the soft, warm beds upstairs. He could hardly go back out into the storm. He climbed into the first bed he found, put up his feet, and instantly fell asleep. In the morning, the merchant went downstairs. There was still no sign of anyone else in the castle, but the huge table of food had mysteriously disappeared. Instead, a small table had been laid for breakfast. The merchant feasted on toast and pastries and washed them down with fresh orange juice. He felt completely refreshed and ready to set off for home. As he was leaving the castle, the merchant remembered his promise to Beauty. The castle garden was full of roses, and he spotted a lovely pink rose right by the gate. As he picked the rose, he heard a terrible roar right behind him.
Roar!
A terrifying beast had appeared from nowhere. It had a snarling snout like a wolf, long claws like a bear, and a shaggy mane of hair like a lion. But it stood on 2 legs, just like a man, and dressed in splendid clothes like a prince might wear.
"Ungrateful man," the beast bellowed. "I have treated you like family. You have eaten from my table and slept in my bed. You did not have to suffer in the storm. But this is how you repay me? By stealing my favourite rose? I will have to kill you for this." "Please don't kill me," said the merchant. "I didn't know this was your favourite rose. I was just picking it for my daughter as a gift. I didn't know that anyone lived here. I shouted out, but nobody answered. I have been so grateful for your food and shelter, but please don't kill me. I'll do anything, if you spare my life." Said the beast. "I will spare your life, but only if you bring me something. You must bring back the first living thing you see when you reach home." The merchant sighed with relief. This would be an animal on the land, a cow or a horse, or maybe one of his dogs. He agreed to the beast's condition and set off for home. The merchant was nearly home when he heard a small voice crying, "Father, father!" It was Beauty, running down the lane to meet him. The merchant burst into tears. He would have to take his daughter back to that terrifying creature. He explained everything to Beauty and she agreed to go. The next day, she packed her bags and went to the castle. At first, Beauty was afraid of the beast. He was so very big, with such scary teeth and claws.
but he was always kind and polite. He made sure that Beauty had everything she needed. He remembered that Beauty's favourite flowers were roses, and every day he would pick her a beautiful posy from his garden. Beauty tried to avoid the Beast, but she had to see him at meal times. He asked her all about her father and her family, but he said little about himself. Over the weeks, they learned more about each other. Beauty began to enjoy their conversations. They started to go for walks together and to sit by the fire and talk into the evening. One evening, as they were watching the fire burn down, the Beast asked Beauty to marry him. She didn't know what to say. Of course she liked him, but she didn't want to marry him. Who could marry such an ugly creature?
Of course, I understand,
said the Beast.
Why would a wonderful girl like you marry a horrible creature like me?
After that, the Beast stopped taking his meals with Beauty and stopped going for walks with her. In fact, they barely even saw each other anymore. Beauty became very lonely. I wish I could see my family, she said. The Beast did not want her to leave the castle. He was afraid she might never come back. But he did give her a gift. It was a little mirror that let her watch her family. She could see her sisters playing and her father working. She watched with envy as her family sat at the dinner table, talking and laughing. Beauty spent hours just staring at the mirror. One day, the Beast found Beauty crying over her mirror.
What's wrong?
He said. My father is very ill, she answered. I must go to him before it is too late. What if he dies and I am not with him? The Beast thought long and hard. He did not want Beauty to ever leave the castle, but it broke his heart to see her crying.
Very well, he said. You may go home to your father, but only for a week. You must come back here in 7 days' time.
Beauty quickly packed her things and raced home to her father. The merchant couldn't believe it when he woke up with Beauty by his side. Nursed by his daughters, he soon recovered. Beauty was thrilled to be home with her family. She spent hours telling them about life at the castle and how kind the Beast had been. She was so happy that she forgot all about her promise. 7 days passed, and then another 7. She had completely forgotten her promise to the Beast. One morning, as she was dressing, Beauty glanced at her magic mirror. There in the reflection she saw the Beast in his rose garden, crying as though his heart had broken. I have done this, said Beauty. My poor Beast. I have abandoned him, and it has broken his heart. And as she said it, she realised that she did love the Beast, and she did want to marry him. Beauty raced out of the house and ran all the way to the castle. Beast, Beast, she cried. She pushed open the castle doors and ran round all the rooms in the house. Finally, she found the Beast in the castle gardens. Please don't cry, she said. I love you, and of course I'll marry you. The Beast stopped crying and started to smile. At that moment, something magical happened. The hair on his face and neck started to disappear. His long snout grew shorter and shorter and turned into a handsome nose. His fierce claws turned into long, slim fingers. He was not an ugly beast anymore. He was a very handsome prince. Oh, Beauty, he said, I have been wanting to tell you for so long, but the spell wouldn't let me. One night, when I was a child, there was a terrible storm. A stranger came to our door to ask for shelter, but my father turned her away. That stranger was a powerful witch. She wanted revenge after that. She killed my father and turned me into this monster. I would only be freed from her spell when I found someone to love me in that form. Your love has freed me from her spell. Thank you. Beauty and her prince were married the next month. Beauty's family were all invited, and the castle was decorated all over with lovely pink roses. Beauty and the prince were very happy together, and they always welcomed strangers into their home, especially on dark, stormy nights. The end.